Hi, everybody. My name is Bob Simmons, and today I'm going to give you a couple pointers on Wilhelm Sturm's study number 2 from his book of 110 studies. It's a nice moving allegro in a 3/4 in C major, so a nice easy key signature. So I'm going to just go over a couple things that I like to notice at first when this one. We notice there's a lot of slurs. There's a lot of whole measure slurs in this one, which sometimes when you're moving your left hand a whole lot, those lot of notes can become really kind of tough. We tend to run out of bow. When we run out of bow with something, 90% of the time it happens in just the first three notes. Because if we're doing something fast, we're gonna go fast with our right hand. It's kind of like rubbing our belly and patting our head at the same time, right? It's two different things with the hands. And so before you do this, I recommend that you count off 3, 2, 3. See how it didn't even come close to running out of bow, and I held it for that many beats, right? Doing a nice open string exercise just to make sure that you can do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? No problem running out of bow there. And then we can add it in with the music, just him. See how it didn't, so right? And when we do this, we want to make sure that our bow is not up over the fingerboard, but down here. Young bassists, a lot of times we end up hiking our bow way up here and have to use so much bow to get a good sound. Instead, if we come further down here, push in just a little bit harder and use less bow, you're going to notice that you've always got bow to spare. That's where the bass differs from some other instruments, violin, viola, cello. They use tons and tons of bow, right? We don't use nearly as much, right? We're just nice and slow. We want to get a good vibration from the string. Okay, so some things that I noticed in this one is you got a lot of chances to play an open G, right? Open Gs have their uses and have their place. That's of course correct. In a study, when you're playing it specifically to learn how to get better at doing certain things, I don't really suggest using them any chance you get. And so what I would do in measures 3 and 4, right? So we just got through going 4. See how you can do all those in the same one, right? And then move up because the shifting, and there's going to be lots of room to pivot up here. So same goes in measure 7 and measure 8. I would also play those close. So something that we want to think about in measure 13. So there's kind of two ways that you could do this. And I've never really been a drill sergeant on fingerings. My thing that I always say is first, do what sounds best. Do what you can make sound best, right? And then second is when we think about, okay, what's easiest to finger? Because if we practice, any difficult fingering can become easy if you put enough practice time into it and effort into it. So we don't want that to be one of our first considerations. Now, what a lot of people are going to want to do in measures 13 and 14 is going to be coming at it like this and doing a shift here. So fourth finger on the C and coming back. Right? Another way is you could do a second finger on the C and then do a pivot here, which I like to do because a pivot's essential to be a good bass player. So 2 1 2 1 4 1 and shift back. Right, that's a really good trick. And then what it allows you to do is in measure 13 and 14, when you're ending this phrase, instead of shifting all the way back here and using that open G, gives you a chance to get a nice closed G right there. So moving on, there's a couple accidentals. But remember, if you're having problems with those full measure slurs, I would suggest totally take your left hand out of the equation for a second, put on a metronome, and go 1 2 3, 1 2 3, just to make sure that, and then we translate that right hand thought into our left hand, and it becomes a lot easier. So there's another fingering that we really want to pay attention to, and it's in measure 25. Okay, so in 25, we're at the D, C sharp. We want to make sure that the first note of measure 6, we're coming back up to first finger for that D, so that we can get that F, right? So it's going to be right, and then a pivot up to that fourth finger for the F. So right, and then instead of moving all the way back down here and doing some big shifts like that, what I like to do is I like to remember that there's a really nice C that's right. So we go fourth finger on the D string for this C, right? And And when I'm playing higher up on the string on one of my thicker strings, I like to come down a little bit further down here. That way it gives us the same brightness that we have. See, I can get that same brightness if I just come a little bit further down here. But so we're doing moving thirds all the way down the neck here, right? So it's going to be 4-2 for the C and E, 4-1 for the B and D, 4-1 for the A and C. And then if you want, I'll let you, you can go. Okay. Now, moving right along, there's some more opportunities in measure 30. Let me see, 35 and 36 of doing that same. So what we're doing is in one measure we're playing the note here, but then we're playing the same note but with a different finger. So it's a really good opportunity to go, you know, right, to do one note with a lot of different fingerings. Don't be afraid to move around just a little bit. And then, let me see. For the very end of the piece, measures 45, 46, 47, and 48. Instead of moving all up and down the neck, we want to practice that pivot that we showed earlier, right? So, what I'm going, pivot back for the beat. Right, that way it gives us a chance to move back here. So without any further ado, I think I'm going to play it for you guys. And if you have any questions, go ahead and feel free in the comment section of the video to ask them, and I'll be checking up on them regularly so you can listen. But here we go. Get the metronome turned on for you. All right, so I've got it set at 120 right now, which is the max speed for this. All right, so here we go. So that was it. Yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope I answered any main questions that you might have, but if not, remember, in the comment section, I'd be happy to help. All right, thanks so much, guys, and have a great day. Keep playing.